Now, before you go out and start building highly available applications, the first thing you need to understand here is the Azure global infrastructure. And if you've gone into the Azure portal and built some stuff out, this might be something that you already kind of know about, but let's go ahead and cover the bases here. Now here on this screen, you can see this is just the main Azure global infrastructure page that talks about the different regions around the world. So we can see here there's 54 regions currently in 140 countries. Microsoft is currently iterating on this and constantly improving the platform, so these numbers may be different by the time you watch this video. However, if we scroll down the list here, we can see all the different regions all around the world, and this is something you're prompted for input on when you're creating things in the Azure portal, so you may be familiar with this already. So if you're ever curious which regions are available, which ones are currently announced but not yet ready and not yet running, you can come here and take a look. So for example, if we're looking in North America, we can see there's a bunch of regions here, something like West Central US. This is a blue circle here. You can see that's an available region. However, if we come over here for something like UAE North, that's currently an announced region. So we've got a dotted kind of circle here. You can see that that's not quite ready just yet. But scrolling down the list, let's take a look here and take a look at what actually defines a region. So we can see here a region is a set of data centers deployed within a latency-defined perimeter. So here's the idea. A region is basically an area of land that may have multiple data centers, multiple physical data centers within it. And Microsoft is still going into certain regions and adding this concept of availability zones that live within specific regions. But the idea is a region can be made up of multiple data centers, and that's what we're talking about here. Basically, the data centers within a region, the availability zones within a region, are connected via high-speed connections. Now, if you look over here on the right-hand side, you can see that we've got region 1, and we've got these different concepts of availability zones. So that's really the idea. An availability zone is essentially just a separate physical data center inside a region. So for example, the US West 2 region in Azure may have multiple physical data centers within it, and then you can spread the resources for your application across those availability zones. And this is something we're going to dive into in more detail later. We've also got the concept here of geographies. So you can see here, geography is a discrete market, typically containing 2 or more regions that preserve data residency and compliance boundaries. So an example of a geography would be North America, and within North America, if we scroll back up, you can see that we've got a bunch of different regions in here. So if for some reason, for compliance, my application had to stay within that particular geography, I could still build a highly available application across multiple regions, across multiple availability zones within those regions. So hopefully that makes sense, but if it doesn't, don't worry. We're going to jump into the portal here in a couple videos, and I'll show you how to work with availability zones and pick regions. But let's go ahead and move on to the next video right now. There's another concept that you want to be familiar with. It's the concept of availability sets, and that's something we can also use within one of these regions. So let's go ahead and move on to the next video, and we'll take a look at that.